Hey guys, and welcome to the Ultimate Flexbox CSS course, where you will learn how to write Flexbox in no time. I'm Gilad, and I will teach you this amazing course. I'm a web developer for many years now, and I have a company, even a startup company, and even wrote a few books about development, but more importantly, I do what I like the most, which is teaching you guys. By the end of this course, you will have a rock-solid understanding all the Flexbox building blocks. Plus, we will build up real-world examples on how to approach things in Flexbox, such as the media objects pattern, responsive galleries, and even the holy grail. All of these solved with easy in Flexbox. The ideal student for this course is anybody who knows basic HTML and CSS, and anybody who wants to be a rock star front-end developer and wants to expand their knowledge with Flexbox, and someone who can tolerate my bad accent. So, you're free to look at the course description, and I look forward to meet you inside. Hey guys, and thank you again for purchasing this course. And before you jump in and dive into code, I just want to give you some like a 20,000 feet bird view of this course to really, grasp the how this all come together. And let's see. The first section, it's like me going through and tell you why and what you should use Flexbox, and it's just to gives you like a sense of what is Flexbox and what is not. Then I'm going through like a browser support things, which browser it does support, which it doesn't. And after that, we will give you like a technicality, maybe what IDE do I use, and the source code of my of all the videos. After that, we have the basics, which is the really hardcore stuff that you need before you get all the things that you might want, like the Flexbox access and the Flexbox container. This is really the must before you jump into the code. And then you have two sections of hardcore Flexbox, and I really divided into two because some of the properties for the Flexbox containers, and sure, I know that you don't know yet what is Flexbox container and what is Flexbox items, but bear in mind there is a difference between them, and that's why I divided into two. So after you completed the Flexbox basics, I think that you can know what the difference between them. So then you see lots of properties for the Flexbox container, and then Flexbox items as well. Then you have a real world examples of the Holy Grail and the responsive gallery and the media object pattern. And when the time goes by, I will probably add a few more. And that's it. Maybe I will give you some homework afterwards, but that's the hardcore of the course. So without further ado, let's jump in, and I hope you will enjoy it. And if really if you ever have any question, please don't hesitate, message me, and
have a question and answers, I really encourage you to ask, and maybe other students, please jump in and also ask, and maybe even share your work. So enjoy it. I am sure you will be like this course, and I will see you in the next lecture. Bye. Hello and welcome to the first video about Flexbox, a video that contains actual coding and not some explanation. And like the title, you can see that we are going to talk about the very first building block, which is Flexbox containers. And the Flexbox containers is very important and a very first thing you will learn in order to play around with Flexbox. And to explain the Flexbox container, let me just go and try to explain the DOM. And if you had any experience with HTML and CSS, you will already know that the DOM is like the king, and they have hierarchy. Okay, so you might have like element which may be like the header element and the footer, and maybe some div for the content, and on this element maybe you have child element, three childs that nesting inside of this element, and maybe another children, and you know how it is. If you apply a Flexbox property to this element, for example, this will be calling the Flexbox container, which is the parent, all right? And more importantly, that it will be applied and will be affect only for these children, only the direct children. So these children, like the, if you can see, maybe you can call them the grandparent of these children, those children will not be affected, only the direct children will be affected. And if we can maybe be more practical, we can see that this is the only thing you need to do in order to play around with flex, all right? To say this property display flex. So let's go and maybe code something, all right? All right, so we are here on the Visual Studio Code, and this is my IDE of choice. Before we dive into the code, I would just want to just explain maybe the project, all right? So this is an ordinary HTML code. I have two links to the CSS. One is the styles, and you can see I have a folder called CSS, which is this one, and another one is styles CSS, which is this one. All right, we will just dive into that. And another one is reset, for just, you know, because I am funny like that, I just want to make a padding and zero padding for the body and the HTML, and maybe call the font family of Arial and stuff like that. And another one, maybe you want to do that as well, is this meta tag, which causing, maybe is, you can see my screen is flickering, which is basically refreshing the page every 3 seconds. And what it does, it's actually replacing the tedious action of pressing F5 after every editing of my code. So if you want it, just edit. If not, it's okay as well. So let's see what's going on here. In this code, I can see that we have a div element, all right, and inside of it we have 4 div elements as well, with a box class. All right, I can actually call it whatever I want, but I just wanted to call it like that. And my parent is the parent element. And let's say what's going on in the style CSS. And the style CSS, I can see that on the parent element, I just made background color of blue, and the box with just, width and height, margin to see the boxes more that will be pop maybe, but nothing fancy, really easy. And to apply a Flexbox element, I just need to go to my parent, which is the parent element. If you can see that this one is the parent element, and go and just press display flags, flags, and if I save it, I can see that instantly the browser is just do something else. All right, it's something else from the block element that we all know. That's really funny, and we will explain further why is that and how can you manipulate your child flex element of child items as well. So let's go and see that. Flexbox access. Well, before I prepare this course, I just, wander around to other courses, yeah, I know, and try to understand what kind of approach they are going to. And for some reason, I don't know, but people don't tend to teach about Flexbox access, and that's really a shame because Flexbox access is really one of the biggest concepts of Flexbox that you need to understand. So let's go and see what's going on. So Flexbox access, if you want really to understand Flexbox, you need to understand that there is two main axes to Flexbox, and one of them is the main axis and the other one is the cross axis. And to each one of them there is a start and an end. The main axis has start on the left side and the end of the right side, and the cross axis have also start and end, which is start on the down side and end of the top side. And this is it. And I know this sounds strange right now to maybe end this lecture right now, but just bear with me and go to the second of this lecture, and I will understand, or you will understand what's really is all about. But bear in mind there is two axes, main axis and cross axis, and each of one of them has start and end, and we will see you in the next lecture. Goodbye. one of the things that describe more developers and programmers, that they tend to like maybe to shorthand things and make things more compact. And if you ever worked on a big project or a large project, you understand why is that, because large projects tend to be really huge in code. So you want to get the code more readable. So you get to tend do small and compact things. And what I wanted to show you now is not really something that you really need to understand or remember, but it's nice to have, and it's a good way to compact your code. And the thing that I want to show you is just to replace those two in something else, which called flex flow. And flex flow gets two properties. These properties are just flex direction and flex wrap combined. And the order is not really important. You can just say row and wrap, and it will be the same as my code right here, or just maybe column and no wrap, and it will be just things like that. So whatever you want. If you don't want to remember that, is okay. Your Flexbox skills will be not really harmed, but it's good to know. It's a good way to know if you want your code to be more compact. So that's it, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Bye. One of the biggest hypes about Flexbox is how it handles its available space. And by available space, I mean like this one, all right? You have all this space of your container, and the items just line up somehow. And let me just go and introduce our next topic. And the next topic will be justify content. And justify content is about how the Flexbox distributes its available space. And now we can see like a sample of it, like justify content center. And justify content center just center the items in its available space, which is the container. But bear in mind that once you go and set this property, justify content, it's actually distributes the available space between the items. All right, so you get you get the property over the container, but justify content just apply it to its items, to its children. So that's something you can keep in mind. And also, and I will show you it later, it's actually going to apply over the main axis. So the now it's horizontal because we are in row direction. But once we are just, let me just go and like enlarge our container. Maybe we will get like column. So now the main axis is vertical, and we can see that it's applied on the vertical axis by justification of the item on the center. And just, you know, you have lots of properties now. You can see and type, instead of center, we can say flex end, and we can see that we will be inline our items in the end of the main axis, we can say main flex start, and we can see that the items will be on the start. We also have something called space around, which will be distribute the space around the items like evenly. We also have space between, which eliminate the edges, but you have even space between the items right now. Now, of course, there is lots of justification for Flexbox, like stretch and space evenly and baseline, but those are not actually across all browsers, so I will not go into that, because I want you to understand only the thing that actually works in all browsers. But once they are going to be to work on all the browser, I will go and show you the more. But that's it about justified content. That's a really powerful thing about Flexbox, and I will show you another cool things on the next lecture. See ya. In the last lecture, I talked about justified content, and justified content, like I said, it's a distribution on available space on the main axis. Now I will talk about something that you can manipulate over the cross axis. So in this case, this is a row direction, so it's a horizontal, the main axis, and the cross axis is the vertical one, and we will talk about that. So to manipulate our cross axis, we want to get and type align items, and we will start with center, and center will be just center the items on the cross axis. So you can see that the available space is distributed evenly and the items is in the center of the page. So to the rest of the demonstration, I will need to eliminate the height of the boxes, so you can see all the things that you can do with align items. And the rest of the align items will be, instead of center, I want to stretch the align items. So you can see they taking all the available space that they can have. So that's why I just eliminate the height of the box, so it won't be restricted to 50 pixels. And also you can say that flex end or flex start, and that's just giving the items to the top of the page or the start of the page, and also flex end will be the bottom of the page. So this is the main thing about align items. So in the next lecture, I will talk about more about the how to manipulate the items. So see you in the next lecture. Alright, so far we talked about some stuff that you can manipulate the child items through the main parent in our case, but what it calls, it's the flex container that contains all the flex items and then you can just manipulate the items through this main container. But for some reason you might like to just go and just go and edit one of the items and not all of them through the main container, through the flex container. So in that case, you want to grab some property called align self. An align self is a property that you set to the flex items and not the flex container. So let's just go and grab our box, and we will just go and to like nth child, and we go to the third child, which is this one. And since that we all get to the align items is still intact to stretch, but we want to do this align self, and we'll grab the center, and behold, this item is just going to be centered, and we can do flex and flex start, and of course we can do a stretch, but it will be like its siblings. So this is align self. It's very powerful because if you want to manipulate only one of the items and not all through the flex container. So in the next lecture, we're going to learn some other properties for the flex items. So see you there. So in the last lecture, we talked about some property of align self, which is a property for the flex item itself, and we will going to continue in this path and try to manipulate the items on the flex items. So this lecture will be divided into 4, basically like 3 properties, but another property that will be bind all together into one shorthand approach. So it will be like maybe a little bit longer lecture. And the first property will be flex grow. And flex grow is not really intuitive, and this is because flex grow talk about the available space and the weight between the items. Okay, so without further ado, let's just start see in our eyes what exactly that it means. So if we just go and try to type flex grow, and this property expect a value of number. All right, so let's just get 1. All right, so if we go to do just 1, you can see that it grows everyone in the same approach. But if we go and cut this and maybe go and do that, it will be do something funny that just go and get all the available space to this one. So you might say, okay, Gilad, what does this mean? Does flex go? What does this 1 means? All right. And I'm going to answer you that 1 is like an arbitrary number that you can set, and it defines the weight of the item. That means that if you go and say flex grow to all of the boxes, but to the nth child of 3, so this means this one will be 2, all right? So this one will be twice as big as this one, right? So it will be growing. Maybe just get this. Let's get rid of this one. All right, this is twice as big as this one. So if we're going and say like 3 to 1, it will be go and be 3 times bigger than this one. If you're going to do that one, it will be also 2 to 1, because it's if you do that math, it will be 2 to 1. Let's make it even harder and say that let's get and do that one. I want the all boxes to be flex grow 1, and then I want to get the second one to be bigger than this one, all right? And the third one I want to be the biggest, so I get the value of 3. So let's see what does it takes us to do, all right? So that one takes the less space of everyone. This one is twice as big as this one, and this one is 3 times bigger than this one and 2 times bigger than that one. So you can say that flex grow is kind of the number is just represents the weight of the growth that we want to do. Another thing that you want to consider is flex shrink. All right, so let's get rid of this one, and let's just go and replace the grow to flex shrink. And flex shrink, right off the bat, you can see that, all right, we see nothing changes. That will be, let's just go and do that, right? Nothing changes. Maybe you just grow it a little bit to 150 pixels. So we can see that flex shrink doesn't do much, right? And that is because of flex shrink is really nothing but it's no good if the flex container has space. Remember that Flexbox is all about the available space of the container. So if you want to really get used to get the most of the flex shrink, is only because we want to get the width of this container into smaller than the available space really used to. So let's get to maybe 300 pixels. All right, and maybe we just say no wrap, so we can so the boxes will be in line to 1. And now you can see that the third box is really the opposite of flex grow. It's just shrink 3 times than the rest of the boxes. So that's really what flex shrink does. And we have another property that is flex basis. And flex basis is not really about actual numbers, but it's more about pixels or EM or whatever. So maybe let's say we want to get 200 pixels to flex basis for this nth child, and what it does is just make the, in this case is the width, okay, but with all the height of the item. So maybe let's go and do 300 pixels, so it will be really really see the difference. Oops. And now you can see that we have 300 pixels wide of the third box, and the rest of the boxes is just distribute evenly to the space. And now some question I had once I just learned about flex basis is, what is the difference between making flex basis or just, you know, we could just say width 300 pixels, all right, and just maybe that's, you know, that's the same, right? If we just do that, and it's the same, but not really, because you have to think about Flexbox by axis, and that's why in the first lecture I spent most of my time talking about axis. It's just because the flex basis refers to the main axis. So if, let's just go and say we want to go and change row into column, and the flex basis, it just go and say all right, 300 pixels will be the base of the flex basis. So now it's not the width but the height of the box. So that's really the difference between the width and the flex basis. So now I want to say to understand that you really learned some three major things that about Flexbox: flex shrink, flex grow, and flex basis. And you can actually replace it by one single property named flex. And flex is really can have 1, 2, or 3 properties to set about it. You can say 1 and will be grow, flex grow. You can say 1, 0, or and 300 pixel, and it will be grow, shrink, and flex basis. And you can say just, you know, just this one and will be grow and flex basis, or just that one and will be grow and shrink. So you just you can remember that as a shorthand, but that would not really harm your skills as Flexbox master. So, you know, just if you want to remember that, that's okay, but you can stick with flex basis, flex shrink, and flex grow to be more specific about your code. So that's all for this lecture. See you in the next lecture. When you develop a software, you develop it with the restriction, with UI and UX, and sometimes you want to get all the server side and place all the items in a certain way from left to right, and you know what order is. But if you ever work with clients, you know that down the road there is changes, and they might tell you that sorry, but this one need to be in the center, and sometimes that's really hard, you know, to go to the server side and go and grab only this item and grab it and put it there. It's really hard. So Flexbox guys just do our really easy times and invent the property called order. And you might think that order is like, all right, I want the nth child of 3 to be order 2, but if you refresh it, you can see that it's still nothing changes. Let me just go and change the text here so you can see it's better. So it's still 1, 2, 3, but I don't know what's going on here, and that's because that order is also weighted. So that means that on the default value, the initial value of the box is something like that. Order is 0. So order will be if you want this item to be the first one, all you need to do is just do it like -1 or something like that, right? So this one will work. Let's just grab and do like another one. Let's grab the second one, and you can see that now the second one will be also -1, and it will be in the left. So if you want, you can do something like that, and it will be 3, 2, 1, because 3 is less than -1, and 1 is we would just change the default order to 1. So that means that all of these are just weighted and just relative to each one of the order. And that's it for this lecture, and I will continue explaining Flexbox in the next lecture. So in this lecture we'll learn about the media object pattern, and the media object pattern is something you can see lots of in the internet, and that's basically some image and then title and then content of the title, or subtitle or something like that, and occasionally you can see even a footer of this kind, and it's basically wrapped in some container or something like that. So you can see that lots of in Facebook or in news website, and lots of comments even, and lots of examples in the internet, and that's what you're going to do. And what I'm going to do is just introduce you the canvas that we're going to do it, and that's the index HTML that connects to a style CSS with some reset CSS with margin and padding. You know the drill. So I just split the screen for you to see also the style and the index HTML, so you can see what am I doing. But before we can jump to the code, I want you to just look at this UI and think, how can you approach to this code? And some approach will be, we will say that maybe we get the container, all right, of flex, and we get the direction of column. So we have this chunk and the footer chunk. And inside of this chunk, we will get another flex item and another flex container that will change the direction from column to row. So we have this one and this one. And inside of this one, well, we can just go and do nothing without flags and just put the title and the content right here. So without further ado, let's just start. And first of all, let's go and create a div with a class name object container, and inside of it we have footer container, and maybe content container. All right, so let's just start with this, and I will go and get the object container up and running in our CSS, also the content container, and just for the sake of let's just grab also the footer container. And the main thing is just to get the object container and make it flexible. So let's just display flex, and we don't want just to get the default settings, but also get flex direction name column, and that behavior will get the two of the chunks just and go and change the main axis to be vertical instead of default of horizontal. So inside of it, of the content container, we want to just flip around the main axis and just get the horizontal one. So we get the image on the left and the content on the right. So we get the content container, also display flex, but now we want to get the flex direction into row. So right now we will see nothing because we have nothing, but if we're going to you know, just for the sake of things to pop up in our eyes, we will also get the and div that going to say image box. Whoops, what am I doing? Image box, and image box will be next to the content container, and the content container will be next to, inside of it will be h1 be my title, and will be another one, another div of content, and the div of content will be just text, just to see what's going on. All right, right now we can see that we have absolutely nothing, and we, you know what, and we just get another one, footer text, just to see all the text that's available. So right now this is chaos. All right, let's just go here and let's get the image box to be appeared. All right, so we want to image box whoops, the image box, which is the image right here. The image box will be width of 100 pixel and height 100 pixel, and the background color will be gray, so be like that. And maybe we have like a margin of 10 pixel as well, so it will be, you know, nicer one. All right, so now you know what, just for us to see, we want to get the content title, just the background color of, you know, just random color of green, and let's get the background color of that one like yellowish, and you know, just to see what's going on. So we can see that everything is in line okay, all right, but for some reason we have my title here and the text is in front of it, and let's see why is that. So the content container will be here, all right, and the content will be here, and that's because, oh, we have two content container names, so we have to change that to content. My mistake. All right, so let's just go and see what's going on here. We will say that h1 will be font size of 20 pixels, and just like that. All right, let's go to the margin of 10 pixels. All right, and maybe have like a border of 1 pixel solid gray. Let's just eliminate all the background colors of the footer and the all right, so now you can see that we have this one. All right, so that's really all you can do. You can style it better, of course, but we're not here in course of UI, so we just want to lay out it perfectly, and that's kind of what we did here. So in next lecture, I will talk about another pattern that you want to study, and that's the gallery pattern. Hey, what's going on, guys? And in this lecture we will observe how to do a responsive gallery. Now, a responsive gallery is something that people really get lost in really you know, regular CSS, but on Flexbox you really don't need to do anything, and it's really easy. And by the way, we did it in the training, but just in case you missed it, I will go in and let you see how to do a responsive gallery. So a responsive gallery is something like that. All right, let's say we have a container, and inside of container we have images. So we get the we call the images like image box. All right, now inside the image box you can place any kind of images, but let's say we just want to do a bunch of these, and let's just go to the CSS, and the container container, and we got the image box. Now image box, let's go and just get 150 pixel, hit and wait, and we can just go and background color of gray. Now you can do a background image, or just go and background image or image element here, right here, but it doesn't really matter for our purposes. So this is how it's going to be. We want to get the images. Maybe we just will get like a margin of 10 pixels, right? We want to get the images like horizontal, and then we want to wrap it. So even if we change the width of the browser, it won't be it will be get and order it by and nothing is missing. So you might be able to say, okay, so what's the deal? And we did it in the training, and we just did. And just to refresh your memory, we just talked about a container with display flex, and then you just go and do that, and we go to like display flex wrap and wrap, and we have this cute responsive gallery. And now if we're going to shrink the browser, you can see that this is responsive, and that's it. That's all you need to do to make a responsive gallery in Flexbox. Now in the next lecture, I will go and tell you what you need to do in order to get the holy grail of Flexbox. One of the main things that gets all web developers and CSS developers confused is what's called the Holy Grail layout. And the Holy Grail layout, if you going to Google and type it, you see a lot of examples, and it's basically a header, two sidebars, some article, and footer. So you mainly have like top header, down here in the footer, and sidebars in both of the sides. And in block CSS, it's very confusing, because you have to get some floats, and then there is here maybe a reset, clear reset, and something like that. And it's very confusing. And in Flexbox it's really easy, and I will tell you how you do it. Mainly what you need to do is, the key is get the body also a class, and I'll explain why I do that. And let's just call it flex body, and I will get also a header and a footer, and then I will get content container, and inside of it I will get we have also a content, and we have like sidebar 1 and sidebar 2. Let's go let's call it content, and then you have sidebar 1 and sidebar 2. And just for to see things in the page, let us just do sidebar 2 and side 1 and header and footer. Alright, so all we need to do here is just get the flex body to be also a flex element. So on the flex body, we need to get display flex, all right, and then we want to get a flex direction in column, all right. So that going to get all of the elements on the vertical sides, and also we want to get a min height 100 VH, and what it does, it's just get it will be get the whole body, like you see, all the 100%, all of the space available, and we'll just going to get the content container and use all of this space. So we get the content container and make it also display flex, but we want to get the flex grow of 1. So flex is with shorthand to grow, which will be 1, and you can see that now you have like footer in the bottom and the header in the top, and then you can see all of the things here. So just for us to see all the things in the right mind. So you have we will get the header and footer, and just color that background color of red. We'll see both with the same color, and we'll get the sidebar one and sidebar 2 with background color of green, let's say. That's really ugly, but you know, just for us to see. So what we need to do now is to grab the holy grail content, all right, which is the content container, and to grow it twice as the side 4. So we got the content, and we say it flex 1. So it's like we're saying flex grow for 1, and then we want to get the sidebar as flex 0 0, and let's say we want to get like 90 pixels. So we get it really big, and the sidebar will be of bases of 90 pixel each. So right now we want to get the side of 1 into the other side. So what we do is just grab the sidebar, and we're going to get the order of -1 because the content, we already know that the default is just 0. So we go and say -1 is less than 0, so the weighted will be order of -1, and there you have it, the holy grail ugly colors, but it's working, and you can go and style it the way you want. So this is the Holy Grail layout in Flexbox. You can see that's really easy and not lots of code, and there you have it. So I hope you enjoyed this lecture.